Hey guys, it's Michael. Today is Friday, May 29th, and there is a lot going on in the world today between a stimulus package being passed by the House, vaccine developments and drugs being sent to the wrong locations, a study on how the virus affects diabetic patients, and sports reopening. We have so much to cover today, especially with the House passing a new stimulus bill. But before we get started, I want to announce that we're doing a giveaway in today's video. We're giving away one $50 free stock. We're giving away $50 in a free stock. All you need to do to be eligible is like the video, be subscribed to the channel, and comment down below the 3 stocks I mentioned in today's video. I'm going to say stock number 1 is this, stock number 2 is this, and stock number 3 is that. So just make sure to stick around till the end. So anyways, let's first go over key financial and economic pieces of news before we get into the new stimulus bill that was just passed by the House late on Thursday. Let's start off with vaccines and treatment drugs for the virus. So, the Trump administration mishandled the initial distribution of the only approved medication for the virus called remdesivir. This is a coronavirus treatment drug that a company named Gilead Sciences had developed, and this is the only approved medication for the virus at this point. Gilead Sciences donated 607,000 vials of the treatment drug called remdesivir, 607,000 vials, and the government was supposed to distribute these. However, they distributed them to the wrong places. They distributed these vials to some hospitals that didn't have ICU units, which means that they didn't have any eligible patients that could take the treatment drug. In addition to this, the administration also sent these vials to hospitals without refrigeration units, which also meant that these vials could not be stored and could not be used. So this is an issue. And according to an infectious disease doctor at Boston Medical Center, he said that the thing that is upsetting is the process at the federal level. He said there's no transparency and we don't know who made the decision or how it has been done. The process is just a staggering injustice. What he means is that they don't know how they decided which hospitals were getting sent the treatment drug, who decided this. They have no idea. There's no transparency around who was delivered the treatment drug and who was not. And he said there should be more transparency on this. Moving on is news with South Korea and how reopening is going. So South Korea has to reinstate some social distancing measures and is forced to shut down a number of things they previously opened, including some school closures because of a recent uptick in the number of cases. Recently, they had their largest spike within the last 2 weeks of virus cases, so now they're forced to shut down schools and other things that they had previously opened up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because by looking at other countries that opened up before we did, it's going to be an indicator for how we are going to go about reopening. It's not going to be the exact same as other countries. However, we could look towards other countries to see how the process of reopening is going. Next up is a study that was done on how the virus affects diabetes patients. So a study done in France on 1,317 patients at 53 French hospitals showed that 1 in 10 diabetic patients with the virus died within a week of being hospitalized, according to the study. And this number is significantly higher than anyone else with the virus, with any other group that has the virus. And specifically in this study was people with type 2 diabetes. So this is important because they say people with diabetes have to be even more careful, even more cautious with the virus, because this study shows that 1 in 10 diabetic patients have more severe results and possibly could die. Now let's get into a couple of pieces of news with sports reopening before we get into the new stimulus bill that was passed by the House. So Denmark's top soccer league is back, and they have a virtual grandstand of fans. So this is going to be something we might be seeing in a number of other sports. It looked like any other Zoom call that you would do in your house where you see people sitting on the couch, just blurry images. This was how it looked at the game in Denmark. The screens at the stadium displayed a changing selection of over 10,000 live Zoom call feeds with spectators in their homes. So this was on the screen in the stadium. You could see a revolving selection of spectators on the grandstand screen. So this is something that we might see with a number of other sports, because it's going to be a while before we see stadiums open up and have people in the stadiums again. Moving on is huge news with the Boston Marathon, because the Boston Marathon was canceled. It was officially canceled for the first time in the race's 124-year history. The race has survived 2 world wars, 9/11, and it has survived everything, and this is the first time it has had to be canceled in the 124-year history of the race. The organizers decided to switch the race from in-person to a virtual format of the 2020 race. Normally the race takes place on September 14th, and that is what it was scheduled for. However, they said by that time it would not be safe to have over 30,000 competitors and spectators come for the race. They said it wouldn't be safe, so they had to switch it to a virtual format. So the way it's going to happen now is that participants are going to need to verify that they ran the 26.2 miles on their own, and they will receive a medal for their run. However, they're not going to be in person, and they're simply going to have to submit that they actually did the 26.2 miles. They're going to have to verify that. This is really important because we're already seeing sporting events getting moved to virtual sporting events where the spectators don't actually show up, and we may see this with concerts and other events as well. So it's something to keep an eye out for in the future. Now let's get into the new stimulus bill that was recently passed by the House. This is exciting news. So as of Saturday, more than 4.4 million loans for the PPP program have been issued under the Payment Protection Program with a total valuation of more than $500 billion. And the House passed a bill yesterday on Thursday. And this bill eases the access to small business loans in the pandemic. The legislation was introduced by two representatives named Dean Phillips and Chip Roy, and it makes a number of changes to the $660 billion Payment Protection Program. So this new bill mainly focuses on small businesses, self-employed people, and the Payment Protection Program. The Payment Protection Program Flexibility Act was passed yesterday with a 417-1 vote. So only one person voted no for this bill in the House. So this is one of the first bills that we've seen a lot of bipartisan support where both the Democrats and the Republicans agree on a bill. So this is huge news because it was 417-1. Only one person said no. And this was interesting because it was the second day of the new proxy voting system in the House, where the representatives didn't actually have to be present to vote, because previously they always had to be present, but to pass this bill, they actually used the proxy voting system where representatives weren't actually all there. So this bill has only been passed by the House. In order for it to become a law, it has to pass the Senate and the President. However, let's go over exactly what is in this bill that the House just passed yesterday. So under this bill, the program allows companies to take out loans of up to $10 million from banks and other lenders, and the loans can be paid off by the federal government if most of the money is spent on payroll within a certain period. And in addition to this, under the House bill, the original 8-week timeline for businesses to spend their loan money on payroll and other expenses for it to be forgiven is now increased to 24 weeks. So under this bill, it would increase the time from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. Previously, you had to apply for forgiveness after 8 weeks. Now they're moving it to 24 weeks because a lot has been going on and businesses are still struggling and still need to use the money. So now they extended the timeline for that. In addition to this, June 30th rehiring deadline would be extended to December 31st of 2020. So they extended the deadline for this as well. And then one of the biggest aspects of this bill is that the requirement for 75% of the money to be spent on payroll expenses now is reduced to 60%. A lot of business owners were struggling because 75% of the money had to be used for payroll and they couldn't use it on other expenses that they needed. But in this bill, it moves the percentage from 75% on payroll to only 60% on payroll. In addition to this, there's a couple of updates with loan forgiveness, and employers now are given a little more leeway on loan forgiveness if they can show they were unable to rehire people or reopen a business in a way that complies with the safety standards. So previously they had to follow specific guidelines to a T, and if they didn't follow those guidelines, they wouldn't be able to apply for forgiveness and get forgiveness of the loan. However, now there's a little more leeway in the rules for applying for forgiveness. As you can see with the 417-1 vote in the House, there's a lot of support of this bill from both sides. Representative Nydia M. Velasquez said that this bill will help ensure businesses have more room to receive PPP loan forgiveness and have more liquidity after the PPP ends. In addition to this, a couple of senators have spoken out on this bill, and actually the Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer, who's a Democrat from New York, supports the House bill and intends to try to advance it in the Senate next week, according to a spokesperson. So they said next week they're going to be looking at this bill, and this is good news because they may try and include some other aspects and start negotiating the second stimulus check that we would all receive if they start debating this PPP loan bill that was passed by the House. So if they're starting to negotiate and get things in the Senate, we can look for more stimulus checks, protections for small businesses, and now they're talking about the PPP loan. So anyways, that is what's going on in the world today with vaccines, the second stimulus check, new stimulus bills that were passed, sports reopening. That's what's going on in the world today. And now let's go over the 3 stocks for the giveaway. I'm going to be picking one winner, and all you need to do to be eligible for the giveaway is like the video down below, be subscribed to the channel, and comment down below these 3 stocks. The first is Target, the second is Pinterest, and the third is McDonald's. So make sure to comment those 3 stocks down below and like the video and be subscribed so you can be eligible to win the $50 giveaway. I'm going to be picking one winner, and I'm going to announce the winner in one of tomorrow's videos. So make sure to keep an eye out for those. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to get your 2 free stocks when you download the Webull investing app and you deposit $100 into your account. 1 free stock when you sign up for Robinhood. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video down below, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.